Hello and welcome to Protect Ukraine Now YouTube channel. In just 2 days, America will choose its next president. Tensions are running high and people across the country are weighing the implications of this election. For those of us who support Ukraine, the topic of which candidate is better for Ukraine certainly much discussed. So I felt compelled to share my perspective. The truth is that, regrettably, both candidates are very bad for Ukraine. If Ms. Harris is elected, we can expect a continuation of the current administration's approach. Measured support, limited by policies that restrict the types of weapons sent to Ukraine, slow delivery rates, and tight control over how some weapons are used. On the other hand, if Mr. Trump takes office, he may pursue a truce, in which case the terms of this agreement will be vital, as poorly structured peace deal could leave Ukraine in a deeply vulnerable position. There is definitely much risk involved with that. No matter who wins, our work is far from over. If any of us believes that electing our preferred candidate means the job is done, we are gravely mistaken. The fight continues, and we must continue with it. Let's discuss the steps we must take regardless of who becomes the next president of the United States. First, there is an urgent action we can ask from the current administration. President Biden has the power to transfer all remaining weapons under the Presidential Drawdown Authority program to Ukraine right now. We know that White House is working on this, but there are still details to address. As of November 1st, 2024, there is $9 billion left in the PDA, weapons that could arm Ukraine and secure its future. The $9 billion has three main sources: $4 billion from this year's appropriations, $3 billion in carryover from 2023, and an additional $2 billion identified by Inspector General through recent accounting adjustments. $5 billion is a lot of money. Meanwhile, the administration is focused on this year's supplemental PDA allowance, which at the moment is $4 billion. We cannot allow the $5 billion in PDA authority from other sources to be forgotten. These are the weapons that could mean a difference between holding the line or losing it. But this authority must be used now before President Biden leaves office. This is crucial so that Ukraine can continue to defend itself during the transition to the next administration. Why is this important? Because a new administration will need time to get up to speed on pressing issues, including Ukraine. During this transition, there's no room for a gap in support like we had in the beginning of this year. And as of right now, there's no secured funding for Ukraine in 2025. We can't afford another 6 months delay in Congress as we saw before. So how can you help ensure these remaining funds are used swiftly? Start by visiting protectukrainenow.org. The link is in the description. There, in a letter to Congress section, you can submit a pre-written letter to your 2 senators and 1 House representative. This letter will urge Congress to ensure the full $9 billion in PDA authority is delivered to Ukraine. Your voice really matters. By speaking up, you are pushing our elected leaders to act when it needed the most. You can also call the White House directly at 202-456-1414. Leave a message for President Biden. Remind him that the world is watching and that Ukraine's survival depends on actions, not words. Ukraine needs these $9 billion in weapons right now. Let's also talk about Congress and its role as we approach this election. If you haven't done so already, think carefully about voting for candidates who support Ukraine. I'll share some scorecards in the description to this video to help you evaluate where your representatives stand on Ukraine. And you can do it based on their voting records. For new candidates, it may take more research, but look at their statements, reach out to campaign staff, and understand where they stand. After election day, reach out to your elected representatives. Let them know we expect strong support for Ukraine. A simple way to do this, again, to visit protectukrainenow.org and use our pre-written letter to Congress. But don't stop there. Make it a habit to regularly contact your representatives. The future of Ukraine depends on sustained congressional support, and Congress must act by passing the next supplemental bill or other measures to continue funding Ukraine's defense. The role of Congress is essential, and that is why I urge you to stay involved. Please keep in mind that both President Trump or future President Harris will need Congress to approve supplemental or other funding for Ukraine in order for them to be effective. So please make a call, send a letter to your representatives, and believe me, this document, this letter you're sending can make a lot of difference. Now, let's not forget that the next White House administration will also play a key role. We cannot rely on them to automatically make the right choice. We need to be prepared to advocate to the new administration from day one, regardless of who sits in the Oval Office. At the moment, the situation on the battlefield remains critical. Ukrainian defenders are fighting for every inch, holding on with everything they have. But we must be realistic. If we don't secure support now, a collapse of the front line is a very real possibility. To avoid this, there are two urgent actions that must be taken now. First, again, ensure Ukraine receives the remaining $9 billion in PDA authorized weapons. And second, urge the new Congress and administration to renew and significantly increase the military aid. Earlier this year, we criticized the 2024 supplemental bill for Ukraine, the so-called HR 815, as a complete disaster. And we were right. The limited aid in that bill has left Ukrainian forces under-supported and exposed. The frontline struggle we see right now is in part a result of this insufficient aid. This moment is our last chance to secure meaningful military aid for Ukraine. Ukraine cannot afford another year of more of the same. I ask each of you to do your part by participating in advocacy for Ukraine. Please also ask your friends and family to do the same. Please share this message widely in your social media. Thank you for standing with Ukraine and for joining me in this fight. Until the next time, and let's keep pushing forward together. Thank you.